But she did appear at Fatima in Portugal in 1917 6 times. All 6 times, she asked us to pray the rosary and to pray the rosary every day. So that's an essential part of Fatima, to pray the rosary and to pray it every day. In October, she also came and worked the great miracle of the sun, and she emphasized that we must cease offending God, which she had also said when she appeared in July. She appeared July 13th and said we must cease offending God when she revealed the great vision of hell to the children and what we call the great secret of Fatima. Also in October, she held out the brown scapular to the world, indicating she wanted everyone to wear the brown scapular. Father barely touched on that at the end. Again, we won't spend too much time on the brown scapular, but we do have a booklet back there on the brown scapular if you want to learn more about it and how important it is as our shield, our spiritual shield, along with our rosary, kind of our spiritual sword. In 1925, then, to fulfill a promise she made at Fatima, Our Lady came back, and she appeared to Sister Lucia in the city of Pontevedra, Spain. Sister Lucia was there at the Dorothean convent, and she asked at that moment for the first Saturday reparatory devotion, that it be practiced throughout the church. And unfortunately, we haven't really obeyed her there. A few people do it. Some people have become aware of it, but it's not really everywhere in the church. It hasn't really been promoted the way it ought to have been. And that was back in 1925. Then in 1929, Our Lady came again to Sister Lucia, fulfilling the promise she made in 1917, asking on June 13th, 1929, saying, now is the moment for Russia to be consecrated to my Immaculate Heart. So those were the 2 parts of the solution she gave. And again, that also, to this day, has not yet been done. And then another order she gave was that in 1960, the full 3rd secret was supposed to be revealed, which she had given Sister Lucia, that would help our world, that it will be clearer at that time. And that secret has not been revealed. Part of it most likely was revealed in 2000, but it has 2 parts, which we knew even back in 1952 from priests that had talked to Sister Lucia. And the 2 parts were not revealed. Only 1 part was. So we're still waiting for that. And of course, in 1973, as Father was saying, she comes at Akita to Sister Agnes Sasagawa and gives her a very similar message. Again, Fatima and Akita are both very centered on reverence for the Holy Eucharist and reparation that must be made for the offenses, as well as devotion to Our Lady. As Father was saying, the 2 pillars that again appear in St. John Bosco's dream. And unfortunately, it seems like now, well, really, certainly since, I won't recount all the events, but certainly since about 1958, the message of Fatima has begun to be downplayed. Really, the 1950s was perhaps the high point. Many people thought in 1950, when Pius XII infallibly declared Our Lady assumed into heaven, body and soul in the document Munificentissimus Deus on August 15th, that he was also going to consecrate Russia to the Immaculate Heart. He even saw a little miracle of the sun there in Rome, his own sort of personal miracle of the sun that Our Lady gave him. But he didn't do it. And by 1958, it seemed like the forces in the Vatican began to sort of downplay the message as if it wasn't that important, it wasn't that necessary. They were going to try another solution, a man-made solution. And we've sort of seen where that's gotten us thus far. And now, with some recent things that you may have seen that have been coming out of the Vatican, it even seems like there might be, like the chess set, the chess pieces are being set up to even attack Marian apparitions further. So they're now, just recently, within, I think it was in April, it was right after Pentecost, so it was in May, that they just released new norms for how they're going to evaluate any kind of alleged supernatural apparition, including the Marian ones. And they're not even going to say that they're supernatural in character anymore. So even if there are these miracles, like the miracle of the sun, all they'll say is, well, it's free of error. But that's very different. You and I can write a book, and they can say it's free of error. Right? That's, in fact, many times what happens. There's something called a nihil obstat. And when theologians write their books, or if a priest writes his book, he's supposed to get a nihil obstat in his book. That just means it's free of error. That doesn't take anything supernatural. It doesn't mean Our Lady came or God has a special message for us. So that's really downplaying things, unfortunately. And then they even said, and we might look back and look at previous apparitions and reverse the decision, because we've also had to do that in the past. So they're really kind of laying the groundwork that Marian apparitions may be under some more attack. So we have to brace ourselves so that and understand the true message, especially while there's still time.